Guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So I'm actually just getting home now and was going up the stairs and I came across a pretty interesting tweet regarding the New York Jets quarterback position from Jamie Stewart. Apparently, Rich Cimini hopped on ESPN radio to break down and dish out some of his thoughts regarding the position and really what the future holds. And he said that he doesn't get the sense that Derek Carr is the Jets guy. He says that they'll definitely be making a play for Rodgers, and Garoppolo would be in play if Rodgers chooses elsewhere. Okay, so a lot to break down here. But right off the bat, I just want to say that whether the Jets end up with Rodgers, Carr, or Jimmy, I think that's a win. I love all three of those quarterbacks. They all have a ton of pros, all different as well, but they all have some negatives, right? Now, some are obviously more riskier than others, some are more glaring than others, but all three quarterbacks here, it doesn't just go for these three, but in my opinion, these are the three top choices for the Jets, right? Like, if I was Joe Douglas, these are the three that I would definitely be targeting. Now, unfortunately, it's not like all three of them are free agents or all three of them are on the trade block here. They all have different timetables. It's looking like Derek Carr is going to be the first domino to fall, and Jimmy G is probably going to be the last because he's just an unrestricted free agent. The San Francisco 49ers have no interest in bringing him back or re-signing him or even like negotiating anything. So he's just going to be out there, which is a big pro when you're talking about a possible Garoppolo acquisition because you're not giving up anything to go get him. But I digress. The point is, really, let's break this first. Let's break the tweet down into two sections. First off, Cimini doesn't get the sense that Derek Carr is the Jets guy. I gotta wonder why. I think Derek Carr checks a lot of the boxes that Saleh himself said in his press conference, right? He's reliable, durable, shows up every single Sunday. He's a great teammate, never accepts the credit, always deflects it onto his players, which I think is really, really awesome. He's a leader. He doesn't throw players under the bus or point the finger or any of that stuff. He would come in and fit the Hackett offense, right? So you're talking about a systematic fit. I don't see a situation where the Jets coaching staff is like, okay, all hands on deck. We got to hammer in the system so Derek can understand it by the time the regular season rolls around. So there's not going to be any sort of speed bumps or hiccups. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, he would be a pretty seamless fit if you ask me. On top of that, the personnel around him doesn't have to change to fit his specific skill set. Everything could stay the same. You just insert Derek Carr into the lineup, right? A top 15 guy here, and you just watch it roll. So, I understand the cold weather argument. I know there's like a rumor of him maybe not being a good fit with like the media and stuff. Like the one thing I keep seeing is like he might not be a good fit for New York and like the culture. And it's like, I don't know. When I think back to the veterans, that the Jets acquire, whether that's a Brandon Marshall, whether that's a Ryan Fitzpatrick, whoever it is, Eric Decker, like all the veteran players, Josh McCown, all the veterans that the Jets have acquired never really seem to be rattled by it too much. It seems to be the younger quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Hackenberg, Bryce Petty, who else? Sam Darnold. Now we're seeing it with Zach Wilson. It's the younger players that seem to get affected more. I really don't like if it's that big of a deal. If like headlines and stuff like rumors and stuff like that are really bothers, like Derek Carr really gets affected by that stuff. I would just say, hey, you know what? Just maybe still stay off social media. Just delete Instagram, delete Twitter, and then we could just roll that way. But really, those are the only two cons, and one of them is just kind of an assumption, in my opinion. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher. And again, this isn't like confirmed or anything like that. This is just Cimini saying that he doesn't get the sense that Carr is the Jets guy. And if Joe Douglas, if this Jets team wants Aaron Rodgers instead, if they want Jimmy Garoppolo instead, that's totally cool as well. But again, because the Jets have so much pressure on them this season, because they haven't had a quarterback in years, right? That Ryan Fitzpatrick season in 2015 was great, but there was no sustained success there. It wasn't consistent. 2016, everything just fell apart. So I don't want to be in a position to where the Jets are pigeonholing themselves, right? Or they're putting all of their eggs into the Aaron Rodgers basket. If it works out, great. But if not, we'll just go sign Jimmy G to a big deal. Like in theory, that makes sense, right? That's great. But the reality is, there's only so many seats at the table. We look at the amount of teams out there that actually need quarterbacks this offseason. The list is huge. Washington, New York Jets, Las Vegas Raiders, Saints, Panthers, Bucks, maybe the Tennessee Titans, maybe the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, that's what, 6, 7 teams right there? I mean, that's a lot of teams. So we start looking at the list of quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe Ryan Tannehill. You know, we're looking at 4 to 5 like solidified starters there. And that's even if you want to consider Baker Mayfield a starter, because I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people will kind of view Mayfield as a like QB competitor type of role. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I just don't want the Jets to sabotage themselves and not have that backup plan. I want the Jets to hit this offseason, or really now. I want this to actually be in place now. Have 4 solid plans in place. Iron out all the details. Iron out all the scenarios. If Rodgers retires, we got to do this. If we don't land, if Rodgers gets traded to the Raiders and Carr signs to the Panthers, we got to do this. Right? Iron out all the details so you have an exact template on what to do as the days go by once news starts breaking. So anyway, that's my take on it. Again, it's just Rich Cimini kind of just voicing his thoughts on the quarterback situation and what the future holds for it. So obviously nothing is like super set in stone or anything. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.